The 2025 NFL Draft delivered one of the biggest shocks in recent memory. Shedeur Sanders, projected as a top 10 pick, watched his name disappear from the first round, then the second, then the third. The Colorado star finally heard his name called in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. What happened next? Sanders did something that caught the entire NFL world off guard. Former Browns quarterback Johnny Manziel made waves on his Glory Days podcast with Las Vegas Raiders star Max Crosby. The 2014 Heisman Trophy winner didn't hold back his thoughts on Sanders.
You know, honestly, he can come out of and win the job. I think he'll do well. I really do.
This wasn't just casual commentary. Manziel lived through the Cleveland pressure cooker. He knows what it takes to survive in that quarterback room. His endorsement carries weight. But Manziel's praise went deeper. He analyzed Sanders' draft day composure with surgical precision.
I think he, to be honest, handled it as good as you possibly can with a smile on your face and like just letting everything kind of play itself out, because it's not easy to sit there, you know, early in the draft process. Him and Deion sitting there like, we're going to be off the board in the first 5 picks.
Yeah.
And you sit there for 5 rounds.
Sanders and his father Deion expected a top 5 selection. Instead, they endured one of the longest nights in draft history. Manziel connected with that anxiety on a personal level.
That's a highly anxious spot to be in. I mean, even for me, sitting and just waiting till the end of the first round was I don't think I would have been able to handle it the way that he did.
The former Browns quarterback experienced his own draft day stress waiting until pick 22. Sanders waited until pick 157. The difference? Sanders never cracked under pressure. Draft analysts questioned Sanders' personality throughout the process. Some labeled him too loud for NFL teams. Manziel addressed this criticism head-on.
As you hear and just kind of see reports about certain things, you know, maybe he's a little bit too loud at times.
He then contrasted this with what some teams prefer.
It's the quiet guy, you know, the Geno type of guy who just comes in, is kind of under the radar.
This quarterback archetype debate shapes draft rooms across the NFL. Teams often prefer quiet, compliant players over confident, outspoken leaders. Sanders' personality might have cost him millions in guaranteed money. But draft night revealed something different. Sanders displayed professionalism, maturity, and resolve. His reaction told a story that contradicted every pre-draft character concern. ESPN's Peter Schrager appeared on the Pat McAfee show with inside information that changed everything. His report shattered the narrative around Sanders' character.
I've heard he's been outstanding in the building. The pre-draft process was so unorthodox that he didn't go through it all like everyone else did. And I think there's a lot that we can look back on this thing, especially if he becomes a star in this league and say, you could point fingers in a million ways. Not having a pure agent, not having, you know, the workouts that everyone else did, you know, going to these teams, not necessarily being as willing to throw the ball when asked at the All-Star games. That kind of stuff I think might have stung him and might have turned teams off. But at no point did anyone say he's a bad kid or that he wasn't going to get along with veterans and come in? I mean, this is a guy who has been training to be a professional football player since the day he was born and is ready for this moment.
This report exposed the real reason for Sanders' draft slide. Process issues, not character flaws, caused his fall. Teams questioned his unconventional approach, not his personality. Sanders lacked a traditional agent. He skipped standard workouts. He controlled his throwing opportunities. These factors created uncertainty, not character red flags. Cleveland entered the season with Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett as veteran options. The team also drafted Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round alongside Sanders in the 5th. 4 quarterbacks, 1 starting job. Initial reports favored Kenny Pickett as the clubhouse leader. The former Pittsburgh Steelers first-rounders seemed positioned to win the competition. But spring practices revealed a different story. Zach Jackson of The Athletic reported that Sanders threatened to make the QB battle intriguing, thanks to the accuracy and decisiveness he's shown this spring. Meanwhile, Pickett appeared unremarkable in early sessions. Jackson's assessment shifted the entire narrative. From here, the belief is that Flacco is the clear favorite to win the first phase of that competition and the starting job. How the rest of it shakes out is anyone's guess. But Sanders has been good enough this spring to make coaches believe he's worthy of more chances this summer. The fifth-round rookie suddenly positioned himself above the third-round pick and the former first-rounder. Sanders earned his opportunities through performance, not draft position. Open practices at Browns camp feature mic'd-up coaches for fan entertainment. During one session, Sanders dropped a perfectly timed pass into a receiver's hands. A coach's voice carried across the field. "Arm placement is just outstanding. We could just get it tied to it at some point." That comment landed like a thunderbolt in the quarterback room. Dillon Gabriel, standing just feet away, heard every word. The third-round pick watched his fifth-round competitor receive praise that should have been his. The moment crystallized what many at camp suspected. Sanders wasn't just competing for a roster spot. He was winning the coaching staff's attention. That "we" in the coach's comment suggested something bigger than individual praise. Gabriel found himself in an uncomfortable position. Drafted earlier, he expected preferential treatment. Instead, Sanders commanded the spotlight through pure performance. Sanders approached his Cleveland opportunity with calculated confidence. He talked to teammates, coaches, and media like a veteran. His natural charisma worked in ways that surprised observers. The rookie quarterback appeared relaxed, sharp, funny, accurate, and locked in during practices. His throws landed precisely where receivers expected them. His timing developed quickly. His reads came faster than anticipated. Most importantly, Sanders acted like he belonged. No rookie jitters, no overwhelming pressure, just steady performance and magnetic personality. This combination proved devastating for his competition. While Gabriel struggled to find his footing, Sanders thrived in the spotlight. The dynamic shifted the entire quarterback room hierarchy. The former Browns quarterback concluded his podcast with a prediction. Manziel stated
he's getting an opportunity now in Cleveland with a quarterback situation that, honestly, he can come out of and win the job. I think he'll do well. I really do. I think the kid works really hard. I think he loves the game of ball. And when it comes down to it, if you have a guy like that loves the game, obviously growing up around it his whole life, I think he'll be successful.
I agree, bro.
Manziel identified the key factors for Sanders' potential success. Work ethic and passion for football transcend draft position. These qualities, combined with opportunity, create paths to starting jobs. The passion element resonated throughout Sanders' time in Berea. From his first practice to his latest interview, the rookie displayed genuine love for the game. Coaches noticed, teammates responded, media coverage followed. Sanders' performance in 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills impressed coaching staff members. While Coach Kevin Stefanski emphasized process over statistics, the numbers supported the eye test. Jackson reported that Sanders positioned himself to make the roster and eventually make the folks in charge think about where he might belong on the depth chart. This assessment came after weeks of spring practices and minicamp sessions. The Athletic reporter's evaluation carried significant weight. Jackson covers the Browns daily. He watches every practice. He speaks with coaches regularly. His assessment reflected insider knowledge, not speculation. Sanders earned his rising stock through consistent performance. Practice statistics supported his case for increased opportunities. The combination created momentum that surprised everyone in the organization. While Sanders battled for his NFL future, his connection with Travis Hunter created headlines in college football. The Colorado teammates made a decision that captured national attention. Post on X, both players will wear number 12 during the upcoming college season. NCAA rules permit number sharing when players don't appear on the field simultaneously. Sanders plays quarterback while Hunter operates on offense and defense.
We have some breaking news rippling throughout the land of the NFL. What we've been anticipating for what feels like months now is finally going to happen. According to the NFL Network insiders, Aaron Rodgers is finally heading to Pittsburgh.
Aaron Rodgers has officially signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the NFL landscape just shifted dramatically. This isn't just another quarterback signing. This is a seismic move that reverberates through every corner of professional football. The four-time MVP inked a one-year deal worth nearly $14 million with the Steel City franchise. But here's where it gets interesting. Rodgers revealed the decision had nothing to do with money or ego. Rodgers said this at Steelers' mandatory minicamp. "I don't need it for my ego. I don't need it to keep playing. This was a decision that was best for my soul." Those words carry weight. They signal something deeper than a typical free agency move. Rodgers made a soul-searching decision that could reshape both his legacy and the Steelers' championship aspirations. The Steelers' quarterback room underwent a complete transformation. Rodgers immediately steps in as the number one quarterback. He joins Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and rookie Will Howard from Ohio State in the play caller room. The roster turnover tells the complete story. Russell Wilson departed for the New York Giants. Justin Fields took Rodgers' former position with the New York Jets. The Steelers lost both starting quarterbacks from the previous season, creating the perfect storm for Rodgers' arrival. The schedule presents immediate drama. The Steelers face the Jets in Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season. Rodgers will square off against his former team with Justin Fields under center for New York. The storylines write themselves. Cam Newton emerged as Rodgers' most vocal supporter during this transition period. The former league MVP defended the veteran quarterback on his podcast, 4th and 1, with unwavering conviction. "I believe that anytime you have a good quarterback, you have a chance," Newton stated with characteristic confidence. Newton's endorsement carries significant weight. The former Carolina Panthers star understands the pressures facing veteran quarterbacks in new systems. His electrifying playing style and MVP credentials give his opinion substantial credibility. The timing of Newton's support proves crucial. Rodgers faces skepticism from multiple corners of the football community, including assessments from former Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. Newton's steadfast trust highlights a foundational principle in professional football. Talented quarterbacks can significantly enhance team fortunes regardless of surrounding circumstances. Newton's confidence extends beyond Rodgers to include Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Tomlin stands as one of the most accomplished coaches in NFL history, lauded for his ability to thrive under pressure and develop talent. The coaching credentials speak volumes. Tomlin ranks among the most successful regular season coaches in league history. His track record includes consistent playoff appearances and a reputation for maximizing player potential. Newton articulated the powerful combination forming in Pittsburgh. A successful quarterback paired with a strategic leader like Tomlin creates a formidable partnership. This dynamic could shape a prosperous future for the Steelers as Rodgers adapts to his new environment. Tomlin's reputation for leveraging player strengths becomes particularly relevant. His ability to adapt systems around talent rather than forcing players into rigid schemes could unlock Rodgers' full potential in the Steel City. Rodgers arrives in Pittsburgh carrying substantial baggage from recent seasons. His tenure with the New York Jets proved disappointing, featuring injuries and a 5-win campaign. The Green Bay Packers' years ended turbulently, creating questions about his adaptability and leadership. The quarterback's credentials remain impressive despite recent struggles. Rodgers earned 2 NFL MVP awards and captured a Super Bowl championship. His precision passing and football intelligence redefined quarterback expectations throughout his career. The Steelers represent potentially his final career destination. Rodgers contemplated retirement before signing with Pittsburgh, making this move his last opportunity to cement his legacy among the game's greatest players. The Steelers organization faces mounting pressure for postseason success. The franchise hasn't won a playoff game in nearly a decade, creating urgency around Tomlin's job security and the team's championship window. Tomlin has come under fire for the lack of playoff advancement. His regular season success means little without postseason victories, and another disappointing campaign could result in organizational changes. Steelers fans hunger for a Super Bowl return. The passionate fan base expects championship-level performance from a franchise steeped in winning tradition. The arrival of a quarterback with Rodgers' pedigree reignites those expectations. The stakes extend beyond individual careers. The entire organization's reputation hangs in the balance as they attempt to recapture their former glory with an aging superstar quarterback. Building chemistry with new teammates represents Rodgers' most immediate challenge. The Steelers' roster includes a talented receiving core and strong defense, but success hinges on quarterback-to-receiver rapport. Rodgers has always been known for his precision and defensive reading ability. However, his effectiveness depends on fostering trust and understanding with new teammates. The transition period could determine whether this partnership reaches its full potential. The Steelers' coaching staff plays a pivotal role in facilitating this integration. Their ability to incorporate Rodgers into the offensive scheme while allowing him to leverage his strengths will prove essential for team success. The offensive unit combines seasoned veterans with emerging stars. This mix requires time to adapt to Rodgers' playing style, but the potential for explosive offensive production becomes tantalizingly realistic once chemistry develops. Not everyone embraces the Rodgers experiment in Pittsburgh. Former Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw delivered harsh criticism of the signing during a recent radio interview. Bradshaw stated Pittsburgh shouldn't bother signing Rodgers. The Super Bowl winner went further, suggesting Rodgers should stay in California and chew on bark. These comments reflect broader skepticism about the move's wisdom. Ben Roethlisberger initially expressed doubts about Rodgers' fit within the Steelers system. However, the former Pittsburgh quarterback later showed confidence in Rodgers' ability to adapt and thrive under pressure. The criticism extends beyond former players to include fans and analysts questioning whether an aging quarterback can revitalize a struggling franchise. These doubts create additional pressure on both Rodgers and the organization to prove skeptics wrong. Rodgers' revelation about his decision-making process provides insight into his current mindset. The choice to join Pittsburgh transcended financial considerations or ego gratification. The quarterback emphasized this wasn't about monetary gain or personal validation. His focus on soul-searching suggests a deeper motivation centered on personal fulfillment and competitive satisfaction. This philosophical approach could translate into heightened motivation and commitment to team success. When players make decisions based on internal conviction rather than external pressures, their performance often reflects that dedication. Rodgers addressed the team during mandatory mini-camp, delivering a message that resonated throughout the locker room. Center Zach Frazier reported that Rodgers told the squad he is all in on winning this season. This declaration carries significant weight for a team seeking leadership and direction. The commitment to winning aligns perfectly with the Steelers' organizational culture and fan expectations. The Pittsburgh Steelers represent one of the NFL's most storied franchises. Their illustrious past includes multiple Super Bowl victories and a tradition of defensive excellence paired with championship-caliber quarterback play. The franchise has been synonymous with grit and determination throughout its history. Known for formidable defense and a legacy of success, the Steelers consistently maintain contender status for decades. Recent seasons presented challenges that prompted organizational soul-searching. The infusion of Rodgers into the roster represents a calculated attempt to rejuvenate championship ambitions and inspire a new generation of players. The merger of Rodgers' individual excellence with the Steelers' collective tradition creates compelling narrative possibilities. This combination could produce unforeseen accomplishments when dynamic talent meets visionary leadership. Steelers' mandatory minicamp continues through Thursday, providing crucial preparation time for team integration. These sessions offer the first glimpse of how Rodgers adapts to his new environment and teammates. The practice schedule becomes particularly important given the compressed timeline for building chemistry. Every repetition and interaction contributes to the developing relationship between quarterback and receivers. Coaching staff observations during these sessions will inform offensive game planning and player deployment strategies. The early returns on Rodgers' integration could shape expectations for the upcoming season.
1 week away from the start of Steelers' mandatory mini-camp, and we're still waiting to find out whether Aaron Rodgers is interested in playing quarterback for Pittsburgh this season. That guy sure does like to keep us in the dark.
Aaron Rodgers has just delivered the most shocking ultimatum in NFL history, and what the four-time MVP revealed about his potential move to the Pittsburgh Steelers has completely exposed the systematic power play that's holding an entire franchise hostage while sending shockwaves through the football world. The explosive message that Rodgers sent to Steelers management isn't just about contract negotiations, it's a complete deconstruction of how NFL business operates, and the devastating implications of his demands have left Pittsburgh in the most impossible situation any franchise has ever faced. When Aaron Rodgers met with them and the Giants, he said, "I do not have a timetable. If you're not comfortable with that, go ahead and move on," ESPN insider Peter Schrager revealed. And this bombshell statement represents the most audacious power move in modern NFL history. Think about the implications of that ultimatum for a moment. A 41-year-old quarterback who hasn't played a full season in 2 years just told 2 NFL franchises that he controls the timeline completely. And if they don't like it, they can find someone else. This isn't negotiation. This is systematic manipulation of desperate teams by someone who knows exactly how much leverage he holds. The most devastating part of Rodgers' message is how it reveals the complete psychological domination he has established over the Steelers organization.